So this is the scenic lookout over that overlooks Terry somewhat, and the Yellowstone River. So the Yellowstone is that river in the background. Somewhere that connects to the Missouri. I believe it is currently flowing in this direction, which is would be essentially towards the Midwest, into the Missouri, and thence into the Mississippi, and then from there into the Mississippi Delta. Those sort of ponds that you see back in there on the other, this is the river right there, the ponds are behind it. That's the sewer lagoon, I believe, for Terry. Terry itself is right there. I don't believe there's a railroad that goes through it, because there's no grain elevator. I assume, I'd have to check that actually, because if there was a grain elevator, it's been demolished. You can see there's a couple of granaries in the back, but no elevator. Some irrigation here, not a ton, but I guess off in the past, upstream there, it kind of looks like it. There's irrigation along the bank of the Yellowstone, and here's that way back in there. There's irrigation as well. As you can see behind me, it is Badlands. This is what we would call Badlands right there, and then Badlands off in the distance there. So today the high is forecast to be 43 degrees C, which is I don't know, 110, 115 or something like that in Fahrenheit. I'd have to double check. The it's about 10:15 right now, and it is blazing hot. I rode my bike up here, and I've got my water. I've got my water and broad brim hat. And yeah, I don't know. I realized when I got up here, because I had to walk a bit, I should have worn boots, because this is rattlesnake country, and Mary's already had an incident with a rattlesnake. So yeah, kind of cool. So hilariously, there are tracks here, major sets of tracks. There's tracks going in both directions. We have a siding here for this, which must be their elevator. I don't know what they take here. It says Kelly Bean Company, so maybe they do pulses in this area. I don't know, grain. But yeah, totally wrong. There is very much definitely railroad traffic. In fact, the tracks that run through here are bi-directional. So there's a set of tracks heading obviously west and another set heading east. So huge railroad. I think this may be actually the Highline Railroad. I have to double check that. And that probably means that in Glendive, which is about say 30-40 miles to the west of here, there's probably an Amtrak station, passenger station, because I believe this Highline has the Highline Railroad has passenger service. So I'll have to go look that up, and hopefully I'll figure out if I can stitch that into the video. But yeah, major railroad. I don't know what I was thinking. I rode my bike across it, and yeah, observation talents need working. Observation habits need to be worked on. another angle of the whistle stop. That's sort of the second Ave, I guess, of Terry, when I'm looking down. Main Street is sort of where the flag is flying. You might have saw a vehicle pass that, but we've got the railroad street that I don't know what it's called, and then Main Street. But anyways, there's some more. That shed with those granaries, the freezing granaries, and the augers over there. Oh, there's a caboose in the background there. I'll have to go check that out. But this reminds me of these rail towns, these small rail towns like this, where there's always this infrastructure around the rail stop, the railhead, or maybe, I don't know what the description is, I don't know much about it, but it often reminds me of the small coastal towns that have like a very small port, or a pier or a marina, and there's like sort of businesses that congregate around it, and a lifestyle, and this there's only the two here, this building and this building, and there's some remnants in the back, but like that's kind of like an industry that will stay with this town as long as the rail comes through here, and they have product that they ship, and I can't imagine they receive anything here. Imagine it all like from the rail line, like they're all loading rail here. There's no receiving. But yeah, anyways, there's the double tracks, the main line, just right up here. I don't know. I think this might be. So I think this rail line, I got to double check it. I'm sure it goes all the way to Chicago and probably Seattle. So there's a very much. I'm guessing I'll have to double check that, but yeah, this is sort of cross country freightage, and this is a big, a big line, double tracks, expensive. So this would be the old rail station, I assume, with the old caboose parked out front. This would have been definitely moved at some point from over here. I'm guessing was where the stop was, but yeah, you can see the town has put a new foundation on. So this building would have been moved. I don't really see any information. It doesn't seem to be open to the public, but yeah, this is sort of a little museum area for the posterity of Terry. But yeah, it doesn't look like it's open. Nope, locked up. Anyways, but there you go, Chicago, Milwaukee, St. Paul, and Pacific. So this rail line, or part of it, the Chicago, Milwaukee, St. Paul, and Pacific rail line, Mary and I rode our bikes on it. The grade still exists. There's no track on it, but it goes all the way across Washington. It's like a state park, the entire length of the grade. So from whatever the right of way of the grade is across the entirety of the park, or the state is a state park, a designated state park. So it's like maybe 10 feet wide, and 1,000 miles long. I don't know how far across Washington is, how wide it is, but then it also continues as a trail across the northern panhandle of Idaho, a really great trail, paved the entire way. I think so. Mary would have more details. She remembers that stuff better than I do. But anyways, that Chicago-Milwaukee rail line was the line. So this particular caboose would not be associated with the rail line that whatever this high line, I think it is, that we're on. This is from a different company and a different line. That line shut down in 1980 or something like that. I think the Milwaukee Chicago line. So anyways, yeah, love this stuff. So some typical historical farming detritus that seems to be everywhere in the West, but this is pretty interesting. This here windmill that was a pump. So you can see here, this would have acted very similar to what we see in a modern pump jack for oil. If you can see, it spins right there, and then what happens as it spins, it pushes a sucker rod down and then pulls it back up, and that's your pumping action. The stroke isn't very high. We're kind of looking at I don't know, like a couple of a foot or so, maybe not even that. Actually, I'm kind of curious now. I don't quite see the rotation of the head that would push the sucker rod up and down. Maybe there's something internal that I'm not seeing. Yeah, so this is from, you know, the early 1900s, a Russian immigrant family, German heritage, homesteaded over here somewhere, and their family still evidently still does it. But you can see, I think those springs there, those would act as some sort of governor. So when the wind, it would try to probably maintain a constant, well, a relatively constant RPM, spinning rate, and I imagine those springs and all that linkage there has somehow a way to feather the vanes in the windmill, so that as it, like, essentially it's a governor. I think my guess is there's some sort of centrifuge in there, or centrifugal device, that as it spins faster, it would feather the vanes to reduce, or to try to maintain a maximum speed. Obviously, you know, in a gale force wind, that mechanism can only go so far, but like it's a kind of a neat piece of engineering and design that we're looking at right there. Self-regulating, an old self-regulating control system, all mechanical, of course. This appears to be a bicycle store of some sort. I don't know. There's a bunch of electric vehicles or electric bikes parked up front of it. I'll have to ask Kathy what the story is. And then I don't know what that is. Some sort of mower, pull behind mower. So this is the old county courthouse, and I assume county seat, probably the whatever the administration for the county is. Prairie County is the name of the county that we're in. I'll have to, there's a new courthouse here somewhere. I don't know what they use this for. It's probably just storage. So this is obviously the newish county courthouse, county seat. I don't know how old it is. It looks a little worn, a little weathered, but as you can tell, they seem to have stuck to an architectural motif. Quite functional. And here's Kathy's house. So that is the rectory, and just past it there is the Catholic Church. I guess that's the rectory for the Catholic Church. Kathy owns this lot between the rectory and her house. But yeah, that's her house right there.